Hey everybody, Volta recently received a letter from the New York Stock Exchange warning them that their stock isn't in compliance with their listing requirements. This piece of news is from a few weeks ago, but it doesn't seem like there's anything new that has come out since this article has been published. It starts out with the announcement that Volta has received a notice from the New York Stock Exchange warning them that their common stock isn't in compliance with the New York Stock Exchange's listing standards. The reason being is that Volta's stock has not closed above $1 per share for 30 consecutive trading days. Of course, this has happened this news came out a few weeks ago, so it's been a while since Volta's stock has actually been above $1 per share. Last time it was up there was around October to early November. Now, just because a company receives one of these letters doesn't mean that their stock is immediately delisted from the exchange. It's simply a warning to the company that their stock is at high risk of being delisted if they don't do anything to meet those listing requirements. Volta goes on to say that they plan to notify the New York Stock Exchange by December 8th, which should have already happened, that it intends to cure the stock price deficiency and regain compliance with the New York Stock Exchange continued listing requirements. The company can regain compliance at any time within the 6-month period following the receipt of the New York Stock Exchange notice if on the last day of trading of any calendar month during the cure period, the company has a closing share price of at least $1 and an average closing share price of at least $1 over the 30 trading day period ending on the last trading day of that month. The company intends to consider available alternatives, including but not limited to a reverse stock split, subject to shareholder approval, no later than at the company's next annual meeting of stockholders, if necessary to cure the stock price non-compliance. It doesn't sound like Volta's management really wanted it to come to a reverse stock split, but given that all else has pretty much failed at this point, it seems like they're okay with going ahead and doing it now. And most would argue that being delisted would be far worse for Volta than doing a reverse stock split. They say under the New York Stock Exchange's rules, if the company determines that it will cure the stock price deficiency by taking an action that will require stockholder approval at its next annual meeting of stockholders, the price condition will be deemed cured if the price promptly exceeds $1 per share and the price remains above that level for at least the following 30 trading days. The company's stock will continue to be listed and traded on the New York Stock Exchange during this period, subject to the company's compliance with other New York Stock Exchange continued listing standards. So overall, Volta is going to get delisted unless they do a reverse stock split. That seems to be the only option that's really feasible for Volta at this point, and I do believe that they are trying to get this done. Obviously, this hasn't happened yet. The price is still 45 cents per share, and I haven't seen any announcements about this thing officially taking place yet. So if Volta does get a reverse stock split taken care of, this should be mostly in the clear as far as listing concerns go. But unfortunately, even if Volta gets back into compliance with the listing requirements, this still doesn't really mean that Volta is a good investment at all. Volta's latest quarterly report revealed that they barely have any cash remaining at this point, and I wouldn't be surprised if that cash balance is even closer to zero at this point. During that same quarter, Volta's operating loss was $40.5 million, which is going to just totally eat up that $15 million of cash that Volta had on their balance sheet. Without any additional funding, the only way I could see Volta surviving this is if they continue to not grow their network and lay off more of their employees. And doing both of those things is going to be absolutely devastating for Volta. Volta's Q3 earnings report really details everything leading up to this delisting notice, so be sure to check out my video on that, and I'll see all of you in the next video.